Welcome to Club Damingo, brought to you by Cyclone Comics.
Yeah, that Louie Joyce. Oh, what a bastard.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
anyway, enough about
have you
him.
pressed record? You pressed record?
Was it? Didn't you press record? I thought.
No,
Oh
I'll edit
no.
that bit out. I'll edit that bit out. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Enough pre-show discussion about people we don't like.
Oh, I won't edit it out. Post-production at a minimum.
Louie Joyce. Did
No,
you see photos from Scamp on the weekend? Louie Joyce. He always puts his face in the front and center of someone's photo.
Yes,
Definitely one of my
that,
favorite people in
Does he
Australian
wear
comics.
his wheels on his feet all the time? Does he just like rollerblade around everywhere?
He wears these weird like platform shoes, and I feel like it's possibly because he's had the inlines like surgically implanted into his feet, and then he wears like a platform around the inlines so he can walk around like a human, like a
Yeah,
normal
yeah.
human, rather than this cyborg inline rollerblader.
Yes, yes. He's a transformer
He is.
rollerblader. Yes.
That's right. Exactly.
So Scamp, you dropped the Scamp and you were there last weekend. How was it all?
I was there. It was really great. Um, as I was kind of saying to you beforehand, the Scamp this year was basically just the market day. Last year we had a breakout room with a number of panels that went all day. This year it was just the market hall itself, which if you've ever been to Paper Cuts or PCAF, it's a multi-day event where one of the days is the market day. So um, that's what Scamp was. And talking to the Scamp committee afterwards, and they're all just itching to try to expand into a second day at least for next year. Pardon me. So hopefully that'll be the thing for next year. That'll be at least a 2-day thing with a day of like in the same kind of mold as PCAF and paper
Right.
cuts, which
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think is a great
Yeah.
methodology for
Yeah.
festivals, at least in this country for now.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think it's
yeah,
okay to have a couple of years. This is what the second Scamp, is it?
it is.
Yeah, it's okay to have a couple of years of finding your way and learning what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And I felt like it felt like there was a higher vibe, a more energetic vibe this year of the crowd in the room
A
than
higher
last year.
vibe. There was lots of drugs around, was there?
Yeah, I'm sure there was actually. Yeah, but there was. It felt like there were more punters come through the door, and I wonder, if that's several things adding up to that,
That's
but
because
including
there's
the
a
change
tab
of
next door to the Leichhardt Town Hall, is a TAB.
yeah, probably, yeah. I was going to say, I think it was the change of location. I think in Leichhardt, there were people who were just willing to walk in and
Right.
have a look around, which didn't
Yeah,
happen so much in
yeah.
Marrickville. And it's the second year, uh, but uh, but the vibe amongst the tablers, the comic makers and sellers was really great as well. And the online stuff that I've seen since the days since Scamp, uh, people, especially the people who traveled interstate to table, are just blown away by how much, how great the vibe was and how lovely everybody was and how well they did at the show and everything.
Right.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So there was
I
lot.
did better than last year, but it's not like it was my biggest show ever. But I'm
Right.
pretty sure that for other people, they were really doing extremely well. So,
So
good
how many
good
tables
show.
would have been there? How many people selling stuff? Just approximately.
Good hundred, I guess, 60 something, 60
Wow.
something maybe. I'm trying to remember if there was a number put on it. And so the hall was packed. The organizers had to turn people down who asked for tables. So if nothing else, they're going to have to look for a second or a larger venue, I think,
Yeah,
for
right.
next year.
Okay.
Um,
Did you have any
and it's
special moments across your day there? Was there anything that was a standout?
yeah. You probably have had the same experience where people uh, come to your table mostly to talk about how do you make comics because I want to make one, right? A lot of the time they walk away without buying anything, which is often fine because sometimes they're students and sometimes they're starving artists like everybody in the room.
And they haven't made their fortune in Australian comics yet to be able to spend money.
That's right. Exactly. And that was a big thing at Comic Conversation. I had several conversations like that at my table. One that was a really long conversation. I hope the person makes a comic out of it because it was a lot of time standing at my table without buying anything. But if he makes a comic out of it, or then it'll all be worthwhile.
Then you can send him an invoice.
Yeah. But two people who I spoke to, who are people that I've known for quite a while, I was really excited that they were seriously saying to me, this is what I'm up to at the moment, to the point where I offered that anytime that they want advice, whatever I can give, I'll give, because I really want them both to make comics. So one of them is Darren Keating. So these are people that, the kiddies at home probably don't know because they haven't actually made comics just yet. So Darren Keating, who's an art director for animation, and he just got let go from Cheeky Little, which is a really nice animation studio here in Sydney. They make good cartoons. But I think they're having to let a few people go. So Darren had to go. And I met Darren when I was working on the Blinky Bill movie many years ago at Flying Bark. And I really loved him then. Really lovely guy, but he puts great artwork up on his Instagram and other socials, and every so often there's a comic page amongst it, and I always go, more comics more often. That's what I say, Darren. And I go, I want a comic out of you, Darren. And he said, well, I'm working on one. So I don't know how much he's happy to let be known publicly, but he's actually made a serious inroads, chunky number of pages into his project, so it's real. But he's kind of like a lot of people going, what happens then? Like, what do I do? So
yeah, last week you mentioned that doing the artwork should be the primary concern, and doing the publishing comes afterwards once the project is done. He's at well, I'm close to finished, if not finished the artwork. Now what?
Yeah, exactly. So someone like Darren, I would really love to help in any way I can, because it will be a great project, and it'll look fantastic in the Australian scene.
Yep.
And he's a lovely guy. So that was one, and the other one was is Roscoe. Oh, what's Ross's last name? I've forgotten. Ross, I met while I was working at an evil place that made poker machines, made the programming for poker machines. So I was one of the artists there. There's quite a few people. You'll see them if you're in animation and or comics. Quite a few people have worked or do work at poker machine companies, but they're like one of the most evil legal things in the world you can do is run a poker machine company.
So that's the artwork for the framing of the machines, like a pinball art kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It was a great job. Like, honestly, I got paid. It was the worst paying job I ever had, and it's not like I was 24 or something like everybody else in my intake. I was, I already had a mortgage and two kids. I don't know how old they were, 10 maybe, something like that. So I was an adult with adult things, and it was the worst paid job I'd ever had. And that was me asking for double the amount of money that they at first offered me, which I guess is what everybody else in my intake, like it was about 6 of us, all came in at the one time. So I was getting paid double what everyone else was getting paid in that intake. And it was the worst paying job I ever had. Like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I wasn't a junior. I was actually possibly the oldest person in the place.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
Okay. Old enough to know
so
better.
It's evil all the way through. That's right. I lasted a year and then got out. But it was a great job because I drew for I think you draw for a week. The sausage machine they had was a concept for a week, and then draw it for a week, and then turn it into vector art for a week.
Right.
And then repeat.
Right.
So every month you were doing 1 or 2 games, sets of games, which then they would try to shop around. So it was great fun because I was doing creative work and I was working on a computer half the time as well, which I love doing both those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I met Roscoe there, and he's much younger than me, and so much his cartooning was so much better. So great, so much fun. I want to find his last name, but he's been working on a comic for a long time as well, which he's put on his socials, but never really printed because it never quite got finished. I'm probably not going to be able to find his thing on the.
Speaking of pinball
socials.
machines and poker machines, I've always aspired to have a Jackaroo pinball machine. I reckon that'd be great to design.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be fun?
Same with Greener Pastures. I reckon that'd be so fun to design
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
totally.
right. Yeah.
It's such a pop culture thing, right?
Man, I love pinball machines.
Pinball machine. Yeah.
But I like the 1970s, 1980s. Not quite fully electronic yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't mind a little bit of the machinery under the glass actually doing something, but I like the old-fashioned scores and things like that. And
things that click over.
I've spent many an hour in front of pinball machines. You find one that you really like, and that you've got the skills to actually get somewhere with, and you just blast. It's great.
Yeah, very good. So so that were two. I mean, there was a lot of highlights. The pub after SCAMP was a good highlight as well. But during the day, conversation wise, they were like two really great things that happened.
Right. Okay. Yeah. What did you have to eat at the pub?
I had a Parmigiana and chips and coleslaw, and then I had chocolate ice cream afterwards.
Wow.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, spending all of your earnings from SCAMP.
Exactly.
Pub grub. If you find a good pub, we've had a couple of good ones here in the country that are not too far away from where we live, but they've changed over the years, and their cook must have changed or something, because the menu that we fell in love with just isn't there anymore. We keep on taking our food back, going, this isn't what we ordered, and it's not good enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's not good.
Or we sit there when it comes and it's presented to us in front on the table, and you look at it, and while before it was like a chicken palmy or whatever that overflowed the table, and there was chips everywhere, and like now it's just this scrawny little thing in the middle of the plate. It's like, oh, I miss the old days.
Yeah,
I'm still hungry after I have my meal.
Yeah, you shouldn't be hungry after a Parmigiana.
No, that's right. That's true. Yes.
Palmy or Parma? Palmy.
Anyway, I'll edit that bit out. No, I
won't. And for the kiddies at home, the reason why I keep on looking out the window is because the front of my house has just been demolished by a couple of builders over the last couple of days. Two builders, both named Max, and both far too handsome to be left alone with anybody. Two very handsome Maxes at my front door saying, we're taking the front of your house off. Yeah, we had some termites, and the whole wooden front of the house looks like it's in trouble.
Yeah,
so if there's noise, looks like they've gone to lunch, because I set them on a Zoom call for a couple of hours. But yeah, if you hear noise,
early tradies lunch.
Yeah. So I've got a door. I can't turn my computer, unfortunately. I've got a door that used to open up onto a balcony, and now if I opened it and stepped out, it's very scary. So that's what's going on here today.
Well, that sounds expensive.
Wasn't as expensive as we thought it would be, but I think that's because the last time we got someone to do some work on the house, they ripped us off ridiculously.
Right. Yeah.
It's half the reason why this is being done, because the last guy who did anything did such a poor job.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't heard any bumps or scrapes or knocks or drills yet, so we'll plough on.
Yeah. Thank you. Good. Let's.
Do you have much on our list of things to talk about this week?
Oh, I didn't even look at it before we started up. I've got a few things if you run out of stuff. Have you got stuff?
I've got just a couple of observations that just last night, Dean Rankin relinked a link to a YouTube thing of a documentary that he was part of back in 2022 called Agony to Ecstasy, which was a doco that interviewed a handful of, I think, Melbourne-based cartoonists and I quickly watched it last night and this morning, and it was quite good. It was talking to Darren Close, Chris McQuinlan, Angie Spice, Dean Rankin, and Colin Wilson, and talking about their anxieties and the stresses and the ups and downs of having a career in Australian comics. Colin, of course, is more overseas with his European connections, but it was good revisiting that. I remember seeing it the first time when it was first made back in 2022 or shortly thereafter, but having a little reminder that these things are made and floating around, it's worthwhile having a review. So do a search for Agony to Ecstasy on YouTube, and there's the full doco there, and it talks to a whole handful of Australian creators in a very interesting, well-made little interview film.
I actually have never watched it, which is terrible of me to have never watched it. So yeah, I'll have a look. I saw that Dean linked to that. So yeah, thank you.
Good. It's good to have sort of like a mini spotty record on YouTube and on film of the scene and the players that sort of like appear and disappear or stay firm and stay as a careerist cartoonist in the scene and things like that. So it's good seeing all those people still floating around. And talking of Dean, I also observe that this Saturday coming is the third Saturday in November, the 22nd of November, which is Aussie Comic Book Day. That this is
is it normally the
third Saturday in November?
Was Saturday just passed? Saturday, the 1st of November was the first Saturday in November. So 1, 8, and 15. So we actually missed Aussie Comic Book Day.
No, it's the third Saturday. The third Saturday in November.
The third Saturday this month is the 15th, because the first Saturday was the 1st, the second Saturday was the 8th, and the third was the 15th. I'm looking at my calendar now.
Yeah, for 15th, and what is it now? I'm looking at the calendar too, and I came to the wrong conclusion. Okay, kiddies. Yeah. Well, let's cut all that out and start again. Hey, segueing from Dean Rankin's name, that just last weekend, last Saturday, we missed Australian Comic Book Day.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? The fact that we totally this year nobody mentioned it. I didn't see a single thing about it online, including myself. I meant to kind of talk it up being the day that SCAMP was on, but my head is in other places, unfortunately, at the moment. So
yeah, and SCAMP missed it as well, and it shows that Dean Rankin's marketing machine for that whole push, it fails dismally. So I put it all on Dean. I mean, like
exactly. Yep.
He's so busy being on TV shows and YouTube documentaries and painting competitions that he doesn't remember the important things.
Yeah.
Anyway, so huzzah to Aussie Comic Book Day for last Saturday.
So what do you think Aussie Comic Book Day should be? I'm pretty sure in my memory when Dean first said, "Here's a date and here's a name and here's even a logo," he kind of went, "But I'm not doing anything else." That's right. It belongs to the community, which is the right thing to do, right? Don't take the responsibility to actually make to be responsible for it to be a living thing. Otherwise, you'll never get any work done. But we're kind of making fun of Dean there, but it's not really his responsibility to make things happen. It's
not at all. Yeah.
Any and all of us could say it's going to be Australian Comic Book Day. I'm going to do something about it by doing a signing.
That's right.
Which used to happen, right? Did that used to happen, or maybe not so much?
It did back in the 1950s and so, when there was lots of comics around. That the Aussie Comic Book Day, when Dean started it back in the early 40s.
What? What are you talking about?
How many years has this been going for? It's only been going for 3 or 4.
5?
Yeah,
reckon it's only 3 or 4? I would estimate more like 5.
Okay. Yeah. So, I still think it's a good idea to have a day marking. I mean, everyone and their dog has a day for themselves these days, there's, I haven't found out what National Gary Day is yet, but I'm sure there's one out there.
Probably, yeah. What do you do on National Gary Day? International Gary Day.
International Gary Day. I bemoan the fact that there aren't too many babies called Gary these days. But in the maternity wards around the country, you look at the name tags on the little plastic, punnets that the babies are laying, and there's, there's Shania, and there's this, that, and the other, but there's no Gary, and it's sad. It makes me cry. And the nurses come out and they say, you shouldn't come here every year. You should stay away and save yourself.
Every day you're looking in the window to see where the Garys are.
Yeah, and
in their punnets
the
like
orderlies,
strawberries.
the orderlies scream out, "Nurse!" and the nurse screams out, "Security!" And off I pop for another year. Yeah, I cry all the gypsy tears about Gary Day. But anyway, that's another thing. That's my problem.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a big problem. I think you have a big problem.
So there was a couple of weeks ago when we when we knew this was coming up, I actually texted to you that maybe we should have an awards day on Australian Comic Book Day. Club Damingo should issue an awards or give our opinion on what the best comics of the year were up to that date each year. And then we wrote that idea down on a piece of paper and we put it to match and put it in the toilet and flushed it.
That's right. You think that's a good idea to sit here and do our own Gary and Tim awards?
I think we probably do that every week anyway. If there's something that's come across our table that is of note, that we don't do a review. We don't do reviews.
No.
But if we think something's worth mentioning that comes across our consciousness, we show it and talk about it, or we try to. We haven't done it that much, but
I think awards is probably a bad word to tack onto that, either at the beginning or the end of that. I think that could be problematic. So I've been meaning to show this as well. I keep on forgetting. Seance Tea Party.
That looks
by
pretty.
Reimena Yee. Yeah. So do you know Reimena? We've talked about her before. She was one of the people.
I have met her. She's she's an Ledger Award winner, I think.
Yeah. So she I think it's a great thing that they did. They bought the hardcover remainders of their own book, so they could sell it themselves.
Right.
And she put it on their Insta and said, I've got all of these. Does anybody want them? And I don't have a copy of Seance Tea Party, so I messaged them back and said, yes, I'd like one. So beautiful hardcover edition, right?
With a dust jacket and everything. It's a real book.
Ordered directly from the author, so I get a lovely Love Aussie Comics bookmark taped in there as well, which is beautiful. And then also, and I kind of flipped through it, going, oh, it's lovely. I wonder if Reimena kind of signed it. I'm looking through and going, oh well, okay, that's fine if they didn't sign it. Like who expects you to sign it? That's a silly thing. But it was because the pages have different thicknesses that I missed it. And not only did they sign it, how wonderful is that? A beautiful Trevor Bovis there.
Yeah. In that case, if it's okay with you, I give the award to that book for the year right now, because it's the only one that's on screen. Seance Tea Party.
Sounds good to me. Yep. Fantastic.
See, this judging process is not that hard, really, is it?
No, it's not hard, and it's I think it's rigorous and and well navigated and all of those things.
So anyone who's got their hardcover comics, just sign them, remark them with a nice drawing of our characters.
Oh no!
Send them in, and you too might be able to. You probably will win an award.
Time for a controversy here. It's been a long time since Australian comic books had a controversy. And
inside paper cover, you can just put some money, like a nice $20 note or a $50 note. If you really want awards, $100 note, and then send them off, and we'll judge you.
Brilliant. I like the sound of that. Who says we can't be bought? So yeah,
yeah, that's right. So anyway, big congratulations.
Yes, congratulations. That Reimena is somebody who's very much trying to create community as well in Melbourne. I'm pretty sure it's Melbourne where they live, and has is it a weekly or a monthly get together at a library where people draw and talk about comics, and so very really somebody who is very much involved in Australian comics, which is great. So
libraries
I'm
is
so
the
pleased
place
I've got a
to do
copy of
this
that.
stuff. Libraries,
Yeah,
there should be almost every single suburban library should have a regular comics meetup where you can get people in to do little exercises. Why not? It's the perfect
every
place.
single
Every
library in
single one.
Australia, every week.
Yes. And I'd give them all the awards for
community engagement.
Community service
engagement
to comics.
award.
Well, why the hell not? Okay, let's strip it back to just the large ones then. But, there's no reason why it couldn't be a campaign of getting a small group growing to a large group of young to experienced people getting together once a month to do comics and talk.
True. And have a comic book club. I don't know if that's what Reimena calls it, actually, like the comic book club or something.
Great
at the
idea.
library.
Great idea.
So yeah, follow them on Instagram and you'll see when they're talking about that stuff. And you're right. Like the libraries would probably jump at that if you said, I would like to utilize the space to do this.
Yeah.
What one of the things that was discussed on the weekend, I forget who with, but was because I was actually talking about it with my students the week before as well, which is like community art get together events. And I told my students about the Sketch Party in Sydney.
Yep.
So Sketch Party is something that started in LA, has one in Paris, and now one in Sydney as well. Monthly get together where you just go to the pub, and normally all of the resources are there: pens, pencils, markers, and paper to just draw whatever you want to draw while you kind of mingle with people. So you can look that up on the social, Sketch Party Sydney. I believe the one in LA grew to hundreds and hundreds of people would come on a monthly basis. It was just huge. And there's this thing in Sydney that's been happening for a little while called Portrait Exchange as well, which is really cute, where you just come and it doesn't matter how good or experienced or not experienced an artist you are, but you go and you bring paper and pencils, and there's probably some on hand as well, but a room full of people drawing, and you just draw each other drawing.
Okay, so it's not like the movie Face Off where you portrait.
No, almost. You instead of ripping your face off, you tear the page out of your sketchbook and hand it to the person.
Okay.
And yeah, so Portrait Exchange, which sounds really lovely as well. I thought that was great. And of course, all of the life drawing and stuff can create community.
Cool. Okay. Well, the Agony to Ecstasy doco, by the way, was put together by Frank Percy and Kane Hamilton. They were the two people that put all that together, so it was worth mentioning the filmmakers there as well before we move on. Yeah,
absolutely. And before we get too far from SCAMP, I've got a couple of things in my notes I meant to mention as well. And that is in the cupboard behind me here, for years, that cupboard in the garage, probably in the last house I lived in, I've had boxes and boxes of Ledger annuals that were wonderfully donated by Jeffrey's Printing, beautiful printing and great design by yourself, editing and writing by numerous people. But I still had I had two full boxes of annuals, including most of a box of the first one, which was like floppy, didn't have a spine on it. And I took them to SCAMP.
You actually remembered?
Get rid of these. Yes, I finally remembered. Sometimes at conventions, I've had them at the table, and if somebody buys something, I say, "Here, have one of these as well for free." But I thought this is a good event where there's a stage. So I just took them and I put them all on the stage saying free comics, and they were all gone by the end of the day, which is fantastic. So it's like two whole boxes of informative Australian comic book stuff in the hands of people who
I've got to do a similar thing down here with all the boxes of them that I've got.
Yeah, it's a great way to do it. If there's an event, just put them on the table with a sign that says free.
Right, okay.
Because it was a family-friendly event, because some of them have stuff that little kids probably shouldn't read, I put on it not for little kids, but I put free, not for little kids. And then also I've had for years a box full of Tides of Hope, which I have a copy here by the desk? I don't think I do. So Tides of Hope was a comic that we did to raise money for floods about, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago. Chris Aquera and I spearheaded that. And I forget how many people, but quite a few people donated a page of art. So including yourself, you had the back cover because you did this beautiful illustration of a man on a horse with the storm coming in.
I still got that here
and that
somewhere.
raised like $10,000 or something.
Just my back cover. That's amazing.
Yeah, not just the back cover, but the comic itself.
Okay.
Via Supernova, which was, back in the days when Supernova was community minded.
Right. I don't think I have a copy. I don't think I have a copy of Tides of Hope.
You don't have a single copy?
No.
Oh,
no.
All right. I'll pull out, because I didn't give away all of them. They didn't all go, because I had a sign on them saying free, all ages, and maybe some people went, oh well, that must be for kids. So I think some people didn't pick it up. But
Okay.
but also because it was a full box of a floppy, like that's harder to kind of. There was more numbers of them to go. So I've got some. I'll get you one or several. How many do you want? You want 50? I'll get you 50.
No, just one will do. One will be fine.
Yeah, but I thought that was cool. Get rid of those in that way.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah, because that's been the bane of our existence, having these boxes there that they should be in people's hands and not in a box.
Exactly.
So
yeah. What's the end product? The end product is somebody read your comic. So
yep, that's right.
If that's what you want. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to make comics for people to read. You can make comics for your own enjoyment, therapy,
that's right.
Whatever.
That's right. Yes. More comics, more often.
More comics, more often. I'm going to make a T-shirt that says that.
More comics, more often. Momentum.
I get it. More comics, more often, more momentum. Got it. That works well.
Yeah, that's right. See, we're both in marketing still. We can't shake it.
Exactly. I know. It's I didn't choose the marketing life. The marketing life chose me.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of marketing, I showed you one of these the other day.
Yeah, they look
this
amazing.
This is not actually the good one. The good one is packed in a box from SCAMP. You've got a real one. You've got a Wolfman one. That's pretty cool. That's what I want to make. One just like that. Show me again. You'll have to take some photos and send it to me, or I can just look it up on the internet. Oh, I like the design of that. Yeah. So this one is a 3D model that I created by using photogrammetry, which is photos of our on-set Trevor for the live action short film. You feed a series of photos that you took from all angles into a special program, and it makes a 3D model out of it. Now, I'm not real happy with this one. Yeah. And this was taken when we were on the farm shoot day. And because of the lighting and the texturing on the mask, the fact that it was all painted and etc., it's not a real crisp model, unfortunately. And he had hair on the top of his head, which the photogrammetry doesn't know what to do with. And the other model is better, and it's in a bag. I should have pulled it out before we got on telly. The other one, the photogrammetry, two things were much better about it. One was that I took the photos of the sculpt, so it's like a one color and high contrast because the lighting was like just making the contrast. So it's a lot crisper model. And the other thing is I took those photos, I think it was with my iPad, either my iPad or my phone, I can't remember, but it was taking location data as well. And even though all you're doing is moving around an object, it's not like it's Perth versus Sydney location data, it actually helps make a better model. So that one's much better, and it needs a little bit of help to smooth out a few bits, but I'm hoping to make a little kind of stand,
nice.
probably a little bit bigger than what I've got here, as a memento of the production.
I've got a sneeze coming up, so keep on showing that while I attend to myself. I know I'm talking now; it's going away. But yeah, that looks very impressive. The collector in me is going, I want one.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I gave the models to daughter Annabelle and a rough Photoshop mock-up, and she found a stand somewhere on the internet and put the two together and sliced the bits off to make it look like a.
That's amazing.
A bust.
Yeah, lovely.
So they should be cool if I can get around to finishing them for a screening.
And is the intent to have them painted as well?
There's no way I'm spending time painting them. absolutely not. And this is a filament print, and it's not bad, but the resin prints are better. But filament prints is what we're probably going to do. But I probably will, rather than just leave the base color, I might spray paint it, like spray paint them a base color, and then do like a rough brush over them to try to give a bit of texture and increase the contrast, etc. I believe that's not too hard.
Like the hair there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it wouldn't be too hard. Yeah, but even just dipping them in black or gold, or like just a bold monocolor would be fine. Probably better than the grey. But anything like that would be great. Yeah.
And the other thing about them is that they're as light as a feather, right? There's nothing of them because they're hollow inside.
Right. Okay.
You don't actually like print them solid filament. There's enough structure in there to have some integrity, but basically they're hollow. And I never get used to how light they are.
They look heavy, but they're just not.
Yeah, that's right. And Son Samuel had a couple done quite large. Of a character that's in the TV show that he's directing and producing at the ABC, the Screen Goblin, which is a puppet that they've got on Good Game for the ABC. So it's a puppet mascotty thing called Screen Goblin. So he did a photogrammetry thing, and then a friend of his cleaned it up, and Annabelle's been printing them, and they're huge. And you pick them up and you go, it's lighter than anything, right? So they're so light. So, and I said that to Annabelle. I said, I feel like they feel weird, and I'd like them to be weighty. She said, yeah, that's a problem. And there are tutorials on how to print them in a method where you actually get a piece of metal and put the metal inside it before it finishes printing, so that you've got some weight on it as well.
I would assume there could also be a plug at the bottom of the base that you could take out. Like unscrew, insert with sand or some weighty material, and then put the plug back in again.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah. That's a good idea. I'll see if that's a thing that happens as well.
Yeah, I'm full of it.
And then again, I might just go, I can't be bothered. Yeah, you are full of it.
Checking my list. The only other thing that I was going to excitedly mention is that it's getting very, very close to the delivery of the Pop Culture and 2 Minute Noodles hardcover, which I'm really looking forward to.
Matt had it on the table at SCAMP, and I said, cool, I can buy it now. He said, no, you can't. This is the advanced copy, whatever it is.
It's so close. Did you flick through it?
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Looking forward to it a lot.
Hardcover, all of that stuff. So, yeah.
Nat does do a good job with his hardcovers.
Yeah, Nat said to me, if you missed the Kickstarter, you can still pledge on the Kickstarter. It's got one of those extension things on it. So
right, okay.
Yeah, so go to Kickstarter and look for Pop Culture and 2 Minute Noodles.
It's like a hair extension, except it's with money attached. With comic
books. Yeah, exactly.
You're walking around with these comics. Dread.
You wouldn't want this one hanging off your dreads because it's pretty heavy. It's oversized, hardcover, pretty thick.
Geez.
A little bit like that guy I was talking about earlier.
And that's all I got. That's all I got on a blank page there.
All right. This Friday night, I'll be on Drink and Draw on Spedsy's YouTube channel. So I'll be on Drink and Draw. I'll have my windows wide open because AC/DC will be playing up the road, and I'm sure we'll be hearing it here in my room. When Oasis played the other week, we could hear them clear as day. It was amazing. It doesn't always happen with the concerts. Depends on the weather and the wind, etc.
It depends on which way the wind's blowing.
Exactly. But I have a feeling that AC/DC might be pretty loud. So
yeah, I'd imagine so.
We'll have AC/DC playing while I'm doing Drink and Draw on Spedsy's YouTube channel.
Psychojanitor.com is his publishing imprint, so that you can track it down, all the linkages there.
Cool. All right. I didn't know that, so that's great news. I've been talking about geek markets in Canberra this weekend and how you will see me there, but you won't see me there. The fates have conspired against us, and I won't be going to geek markets in Canberra. But instead, you will see me in Waverley in Sydney. So the Waverley Library in Bondi Junction have got a little library-based zine comic-y fair called WaveCon, because it's in Waverley.
Waverley, yeah, okay, yeah.
So have you got that? Waverley.
Yes.
So yes, I'll be there instead on the Saturday doing WaveCon. So
There's
and I
a
met
great
Billy,
cemetery in
who's
Waverley. If you've got some
oh
spare
yeah, it's
time, yeah,
the
it's
one
on
that
the
looks
cliff
over the water.
over the water. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Very
Many,
cool.
many an Australian film has been shot there because it's a great location.
Yeah, very cool. So that's where I'll be this weekend. That'll be the last show of the year, and maybe I'll make a tour T-shirt after all, and maybe I'll
Oh,
even put it online for people to buy this time. Um, and the other thing I was going to say about Scamp, I mentioned that there were interstaters there, and this is an important thing about, I think, about the comic centric events. I mean, Otherworld Zine Fair brings in zine makers from around the country, but Scamp definitely had comic book makers specifically coming from Brisbane and Melbourne and Perth. We even had some PCAF people there.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So, uh, this is part of the power of these comic centric festival oriented events. And yeah, those interstaters had a great time. And really loved it. And the interesting thing was, I was chatting just briefly with one of the Brisbane people who seemed to be uh, not the leader, not the ringleader, but the person who was trying to organize it, to get it to happen. And he was saying that in Brisbane he tries to create a bit of comics community as well, and like trying to make sure everybody knows what's going on. And I said, "Oh, did you know that there was a comic book event in Brisbane this weekend? Like you're here at Scamp and you're missing the one that's on in Brisbane." He said, "No, you mean the illustration fair or whatever it was? There was another kind of
Right.
more art
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
oriented fair." I said, "No. There's one that was actually called Brisbane Comic Creators Fair or something."
Yeah.
And he went,
Oh,
"No, I didn't know about it at all." I think
oh,
it was organized by Comics, etc. I don't know the details either.
right. Okay.
But
Yeah.
it looks like they're trying to make a regular thing of that as well. So many
Oh,
things that happen on a regular basis. Even when you feel like you're the person who's trying to keep up with it, it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
hard to keep up with it.
Missed
So
it by
uh,
that much.
that's right, by half the height of the country. Um, so yeah. Oh, and the other thing with the drink and draw, I haven't actually watched the two that have happened. It's a trilogy of drink and draws as a
Yeah,
kind of comeback
yeah.
tour, I guess. Is in that first week there was a Trevor
Mm.
Bovis drawing by actually I think it was somebody who wasn't actually on the show. But this week there were two more Trevor Bovises associated with the show. So
Oh,
one was actually
I saw the one
on
on
the
the
show.
lounge, the lounge one with all the other Australian
Yes.
characters. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Tony Davidson. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I get it right. So on Instagram, he's Davo_77. So Tony Davidson, yeah, did like a cast sort of thing with a bunch of Australian characters, old and new, sitting on a couch.
Casting couch.
So, yeah, of course. And that he sent that in. He wasn't on live, but Tom Tung, who we've talked about many times on
Mhm.
Instagram as Mini Tom, he was on live and he did a bunch, like maybe it was it four different characters in the style of Louie,
Yeah.
and Trevor was one of them, which was
Yeah.
very cool. He also did a soldier.
Soldier Legacy,
Soldier Legacy drawing.
which is
And
based
yeah,
on
and just
Paul
generally
Mason's character. Yes.
Paul Mason's Soldier Legacy. Yeah. So it was just, I guess people are getting the idea that if they draw Trevor on Drink and Draw, I'll talk about them the next week. So keep it up. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to draw or who I'm going to draw this week. Because you're supposed to draw an Australian character, can be your own, but I think that I'll try to think of someone else's to draw.
Right. Yes.
I don't think I'll attempt the Jackaroo. That's like too realistic for me, and I think I'd mess it up. But considering maybe Flash or maybe Cyberswine, but I think somebody did a Cyberswine. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, cool. The other thing of note that just popped into my head, thinking of Australian characters, Platinum Grit, going back to the interview on the Comics Journal website with
my
Trudy
God,
and Doug.
yes. Yeah. That was such a great interview.
About Oglaf, but it also dips back into the Platinum Grit and why it sort of ground to a halt over time and the history of the Platinum Grit team. So hit the Comics Journal website for a really interesting interview with Trudy and Doug about Oglaf and what they're doing and what's coming up as well for them. Fascinating that gets such a great profile on the Comics Journal site.
Yeah, wonderful. It was a great interview. They're such articulate people, but also, very giving with very transparent about what they do and how it works. And the fact that Oglaf is a porn comic, comes with its own issues, its own problems. So it was interesting to hear them talk about that in a really in ways that I didn't consider would be a talking point, about representation and how they get into trouble or not, and etc. It was very much worth reading, and probably the best author photo in Australian comics, right? That's such a great photo of Doug and Trudy. But
hit the website to find all that out, and it's well worth the read, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So, good on them. And that's just them, working away. They don't seek out this publicity, from what I can gather. But the quality of their work and their momentum of their regularity of work as well. The quality of work attracts attention, and that's the way it should be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Make an undeniable body of work on a regular basis, and it becomes undeniable.
That's right.
People will take notice. Oh man, I should take my own advice, shouldn't
I? Pause it right there. Belle, are you about to leave? Okay, I'll see you on the flip side.
Yeah, training tonight.
Okay, see you at about 9 o'clock then.
Yeah, about that. You pizza.
Okay, I will. Rightio. Love you. Play nicely with the other people. No guarantees? Okay, rightio.
Okay. Bye, Belle.
And she says, see you, Tim. Yeah. And back into it again. Nice little
video
cutting position there for the edits, but I think I'll leave it in. Cool. I won't edit it out.
Okay, I don't mind. My Belle, it's your Belle.
So Platinum Grit. Yeah, it's amazing how much of an impact that made on the Australian scene, and still does to a certain extent, how people fondly remember that comic, even though it was unfinished and even though it became unwieldy towards the end as far as the creators were concerned. It would have to be, if you were looking at the post-1980s Australian comic scene, it'd have to almost always be on someone's top 5, if not top 3 Australian comic experience.
Yep. And it's one of those things also that if you've got the collection of them and reading it, and you would remember being blown away with how great it looked, let alone how funny it was and how well written it was, but how great the art was from the first issue. But if you start looking at the later issues versus the first issue, you start to go, wow, like it only got better and better and better. Trudy as an artist really knows what she's doing. And there's a short story in an issue 1 as well, issue 1 comics back in the day. Like there's a short, I think it was a 4-pager, 3-pager from me as well, a Greener Pastures short. So they were doing little shorts like that as well of stuff that was going to happen. And Doug and Trudy, and we shouldn't just say Doug and Trudy because there was a third person. Was that a Daniel as well, I think, was writing that as well. But yeah, so they had a short in issue 1 comics as well. And you look at that and you go, I was blown away with how great this looked. And yet issue 1 was that much better, or the first issue of Platinum Grit was that much better. And like the 5th issue was just so much better again. So worth tracking down. I have a feeling I still have some in the garage, as in not my collection. I've got my own collection of singles, but back from the Sunburnt Comics distribution days, I think I've still got my stock from back then, which Trudy and Doug said, burn them, we don't want them. And I can't burn them. And I don't feel like I should be giving them away either. But so I feel like I've still got some there. And maybe one day when we get to that part of the garage, I might plonk them on the table at the convention as well, either for free or for $100 each. And we'll see how we go with those.
Yeah, there was a third person involved, and I can't remember their name either. I feel like dashing into my bookshelf and having a look at the spine.
Excuse me while I stand up. My folder full of old photographs.
I'm going to go in and check the spine.
Check the spine. Old photographs. This is the DHL box of Greener Pastures Comics. The first time that we sent comics to America for distribution via Diamond Comics back in the late 90s.
Danny Murphy.
Danny Murphy. I knew it was a Daniel. Danny Murphy. So yeah, that's the other really important person involved with Platinum Grit. There's a photo of me with my that's me in the foreground with my ponytail back in the day, getting a drawing from quite problematic man now, but John Crickfalusi was drawing me a Stimpy at an event there. But what I'm looking for, if you can see the background of my studio here, nothing has changed. That was my studio about 20 years ago. Look at that SideQuest drive. Those of you that are old enough to not be kiddies anymore, see the big number 3 SideQuest drive and an old Mac there. But I'm looking for photos of Doug and Trudy and Danny Murphy. I can't find any amongst this lot. They're in a folder somewhere, but this was a bunch of what do you call them, spares that somebody gave me recently. Right here. Is this making good television? Kiddies at home?
Well, while you're looking through that, how many times did Platinum Grit get reprinted? Because they did the Image Comics collection thing, but prior to that, they did their own trade paperbacks as well.
Did they? Are you sure?
Well, I think this is one of them that I've got here is the self-published one.
That's the self-published one. All right, cool. I don't actually have that.
I've got 3 volumes, book 1, book 2, book 3.
Oh, no, I definitely don't have that. And yes, there was the Image one, wasn't there?
Yeah. And this one's just, like black and white on the inside as per usual, but lots of fun stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Mm.
One of these days, there'll be a Jackaroo collection similar to this. One of these days.
One of these days. I'll send you a wonderful song called One of These Days. One of These Days. No, that's not it. There's some Dar and Dill cosplay from back in the day at an OzCon. Not an Oz Comic Con, but an OzCon. I showed that picture to Dylan the last time I saw him. And it was Dylan's partner under one of those masks.
Right.
So not quite cheating, but almost cheating. Yes, there is. There's left and right. So there's me on the right in a white t-shirt with Michael in the dark t-shirt, and there's Doug and Trudy in the middle.
Right.
David James, Jared Ashworth on the far left, and there's Brent in the middle. I'm afraid I can't remember their friend's name.
Yeah.
From back in the day as well.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So yeah.
Anyway,
I've got a million of these photos.
I'm pressing stop. Okay. You got anything else on your list?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, fine. Anyone else out there got any questions to ask us? Anyone? Nothing. Okay. Right.
Crickets. Jesus. All right. See you later, kiddies.
I'm going to press see you later on the buttons here. And we'll talk to you next week. Same time, same club. Bye.
Cheers.